Hello, in this tutorial I want to show you how you can easily color grade your raw outdoor photos in Photoshop, in Camera Raw, or even in Lightroom if at all you have Lightroom. And you could also follow the same steps when it comes to Capture One, but Capture One may not be having that kind of calibration tool as we're about to see in this video tutorial. So you can see you're going to get the image from looking like this. You can see it was lacking colors and you just want to make it pop to looking like this. So this is the before and after that we are going to be achieving in this video tutorial. So I'm just going to simply come and reset the image to the default so that we can understand how we can easily process, color grade raw outdoor images and recover information in the sky. Remember, when you shoot in RAW, you have the ability to recover any blown out information as long as it was slightly captured by your camera when you're shooting. And you can see in the after, we tended to simply get back the information within the sky as I showed you in the after image that we're going to be achieving. So this is the image straight out of my camera, and I use the Canon 6D camera, and I'm using Camera Raw 12.4. It is a slightly older version, but I usually prefer to use this. So when it comes to processing raw files, the very first thing that you have to do is first of all correcting the lighting and contrast issues regarding the image. And usually always make sure to get your subject exposed properly when you're shooting in maybe in the studio or even outdoors, so that you have less work to do when it comes to processing the images. So let's first of all start. So the very first thing I'm going to do, I'm just simply going to come to my exposure and simply take down the exposure slightly because it looked a little bit overexposed. So since I want to get back the information in the brightest areas of this image, which is the highlights, I'll simply come and take the highlights slider down, and you can see this helps me recover information. You can see this is the before and this is the after. You can now see the details within the sky, and in order to make that better, I'm just going to get back more information within the whites, and that makes the sky better in this case. So after I have done this, I'll simply come and add contrast to the image to around 10 is okay. And always make sure you shoot images in a warm white balance, because when you shoot them in a warm white balance, I prefer to shoot between 4800 to around 5500 because it helps me capture warmer skin tones. But if at all you shoot or you shot in RAW, you can always come to the temperature slider and adjust it accordingly. So after doing that, I'm just going to come to the blacks and simply take the black slider down to add more contrast to the image. So after I've handled this, I usually don't handle the texture, clarity and the haze sliders in Camera Raw or even Lightroom, and I don't handle I don't tamper with the vibrance option and saturation because I'm just going to use the calibration tool in Camera Raw to correct that. So let's look at the before and after so far, and now the image looks better. So we're going to come down to where it says the color mixer, and under color mixer we have the HSL panel, which is hue, saturation and luminance. So let me first of all explain for you what these basically do. So let's first of all start with luminance. Luminance is the brightness of a given color. So it is more of how bright or how dark you want a given color to be. For instance, if I told you wanted the oranges to be dark, by taking down the orange slider, we're going to be making the oranges dark. And by taking up the slider, it is going to make the oranges in the image bright. So that is how luminance works. And we're going to come to saturation. Saturation is how intense or the intensity of a given color. You can decide to desaturate a color, or you can decide to increase on the intensity of that color by taking up the saturation slider of a given color, and that color is going to be affected individually. Then we have hue. Basically, hue is one of the most confusing tools when it comes to Camera Raw, and in the hue option or in the hue slider, these colors work hand in hand when it comes to the hue slider. For example, if at all I am to hue, for example, the oranges in this case, and I take the orange slider towards the left hand side, you can notice that the oranges are going to be looking reddish, and if at all I do the opposite, it's going to make the oranges look yellowish. So how the hue slider basically works: when you're moving the slider of a given color under the hues towards your left hand side, you are going to make that color look like a color on top of it, which is the red color. And when you're moving it towards the right hand side, you're going to be making it look like the color that is below it. So that is how the hue slider works within the Camera Raw filter or even Lightroom. So after understanding that, we're just going to first of all make the sky pop, and it is going to stand out in this case. So just want to get back the information in the sky by darkening the sky, because I feel like the sky is a little bit overexposed for our liking. So we're going to come to the luminance option in the camera filter and simply target the blues of this image. And by taking down the slider of the blues, you can see that we get more information within the sky. So we just take that down a little bit. Around -53, we get back information, and now you can see that the information in the sky has been recovered and it looks great. So after you have done that, we're just going to come straight to our saturation. But since we want the sky to pop a little bit, we are going to come right here to the blues and simply take up the saturation of the blue slider, and it is going to, don't take it all the way because it is going to look a little bit awkward, and it's going to create those kind of artifacts around the edges. So don't exceed around 58. It looks okay. And now you can see how the sky is now popping, and you have information within the sky. So after that, doing that, we're just going to come straight to the hues. So depending on the colors that you want to adjust in the images, you can play around with the sliders to see what works best for you. So we're going to come to the hues. So if at all, so for my case, I feel like I have a little bit of reds within the oranges, for example, on the neck area. So I'm just going to come and make the oranges a little bit more on the yellow slider, or I'll make the oranges yellowish. Remember, moving the slider towards the right hand side, you are making the oranges more yellowish, and that eliminates the redness within the oranges right here. And I'll do the same for the reds by making the reds a little bit more on the orange side, and that makes the skin better or look better in this case. So this is our before and after, before and after. So we are not yet done. So after dealing with the color mixer tool, we are going to come to the most powerful tool that is going to make the images pop when it comes to camera or even Lightroom processing of raw files, and that is the calibration tool within the Camera Raw or even Lightroom. So we're going to come to the saturation of the blue primary, and when we take up the saturation, you are going to notice that it is going to make the blues richer. But the disadvantage of doing or taking it all the way up is going to make it look unnatural, and it's going to make you look like a newbie out there. So just do a little bit of it. So you are going to slightly hue the blues after around -12. Then since doing this affects also a skin tone, we are going to come the saturation slider right here and simply take the reds a little bit up, just like that, to make the skin pop a little bit. And you can also come to the saturation and simply take down the saturation slightly. So you can even take the blue primary slider down a little bit to make the sky look a little bit more of the orange and teal look. But the more you take it towards the left hand side, it's going to make the sky or the skin tones even look red. So when you do this and you feel like the skin is getting a little bit reddish, simply come to the hues and simply take up the hues to counter or eliminate the redness from the skin. And you can always take down the saturation to the one of your liking. So when you feel like the saturation of the oranges are too much, you have the liberty to come down or to come back to the saturation of the oranges and simply take down or reduce on the saturation of the orange color that is affecting the skin tone. So -5 looks great for me. And let me show you a quick before and after for just this in Camera Raw. So this is the image before and after, before and after. Just look at how we have been able to transform this image. And if at all you feel like you still have shadows in the image, simply come the shadows and open up the shadows slightly, and that is going to make the image look better. So this is it for this video. And if at all you have learned a thing or two from this video, don't forget to like this video and don't forget to subscribe this channel. If at all you have been watching and you not if at all you have been watching and you not yet subscribe this channel, Ronix from Ronix Photography. Thank you for watching and see you in yet more amazing tutorials. And don't forget to keep practicing and also keep creating.